Hey everyone, welcome to this week's episode of The Struggle is Real.
The struggle is real.
And what we hope is that you've spent the last 2 weeks just becoming so aware of your emotions. You recognize that ocean of emotions that is just rocking inside of you. But you're probably wondering, what do I do with all this emotion now? Why have you forsaken me? What do I do? So, Kaylee, tell us what we're going to do today.
So for today's session, we're going to tell you all about the different ways that you can manage your emotions once you start feeling them, because now you feel them all the time.
And maybe you remember from last week, we told you that we were going to have a Queen's Celebrity Cameo. And we have a really amazing expert to come talk to you about all of the ways to regulate your emotions.
Yeah, so Dr. Tom Hollenstein has joined us today. He happens to be both of our supervisors and is an all-around amazing human being. And he is a huge expert on emotion research and emotion regulations and just how emotions and emotion regulation kind of work together to impact our well-being. So he's a great person to talk to about all this stuff.
Perfect. So we're just going to switch it over to Tom.
I am Dr. Tom Hollenstein. I am an associate professor at Queen's University Department of Psychology. I study the development of emotions across childhood and adolescence and into adulthood. Regulation is like your thermostat at home, right? You talked about the thermostat of emotions, but your thermostat at home controls your furnace, like how hot or how cool it is. And so the regulation isn't just making it hot all the time and having the furnace on all the time or having it off all the time, but registering when things are needed. And so emotion regulation is about how to apply certain strategies or tactics to be able to control emotions in particular ways, but also to let them go, to allow them to be the signals that they are. So part of what we come to understand about emotion regulation is how people allow their emotions to provide the information that they provide, but also direct those emotions for beneficial interactions with other people or how they feel about themselves in the world. There are many different ways. When you think about emotion regulation, you can think about how is it impacting the emotion process? Is it affecting how you're thinking about the emotion? Is it affecting how it feels? Or is it affecting how it's expressed? So the first things that infants are allowed to do or are able to do is to control their attention. Even if they're stimulated by positive things, if you're jingling the keys in front of them, they can turn their head away and then come back once they have brought their arousal level down. And so attentional control is our sort of first thing. Do we pay attention to the emotion or do we put attention away from it? And this is where we find things like distraction and avoidance are things that people can use to not think about the emotion, to get away from the situation that gave them the emotion in the first place, and various things like that. And that has certainly some impact, although it's questionable about how effective that might be in adulthood, for example. That if you distract or avoid certain circumstances, then you never really have the opportunity to resolve the issue or to really get the information you need from the emotion. But if you do pay attention to an emotion, then you can change how you think about it. And you could say what we call reappraisal. So you reevaluate the significance of any particular emotional event. And that really changes how you think about it. In changing the arousal or the way that you feel, there's a few ways that you can achieve that. Certainly deep breathing is been used quite a bit, especially for people who suffer from panic attacks. First line of defense is to slow your breathing down and relax. And if your arousal, if your heart rate goes down, and if your breathing slows down, then you're actually better able to do the thinking things that you need to do to figure out how to communicate what's going on, how to resolve the issue that you're experiencing, or how to reappraise or reevaluate the meaning of it. So that may be the first thing when an emotion is particularly intense. And then the third way that people can regulate emotions is through controlling their behavior or their expression. And this is perhaps the least mature way, but certainly the most common way to regulate emotions is to suppress or control how it's expressed. So never let them see you sweat, right? Just go, no, that's fine, even when it's not very fine at all. And that suppression of expression can, at least temporarily, hold off the full-blown nature of an emotion. But ironically, sometimes it makes it worse because you're suppressing your facial expression, but underneath your feelings are still coming to the surface. And the other way that you could do it is the opposite side. Instead of suppressing, you could express it loudly. You stub your toe and you go, oh, and you let it out, and there's something that lets that go. And so all of these different ways that we do this on a day-to-day basis is the ebb and the flow, the stream of our emotional experience as we go about our days. So that's the range of emotion regulation strategies and tactics that people use to try and regulate their emotion. None of them are 100% good or 100% bad. It just depends on when you use them. And the important thing is being aware of the range of possibilities that you have to deal with any particular emotion in any particular circumstance. The other thing is that given that range, given that you have a toolbox of emotion regulation strategies, you can use more than one. You can adapt and exchange and use them in combination or in sequence. I gave an example earlier about being able to calm yourself down so that you can use your thinking parts of your emotion system to be able to think about it differently, or evaluate the circumstance differently, or think of some solutions to the circumstance.
Alright, so we hope that you guys learned lots and enjoyed hearing from Tom and all of his knowledge bombs and just the amazing ways he is able to explain this and make it really accessible, which we love. Mm-hmm. So obviously we have a challenge for you. The challenge hands. Jazz hands.
Yeah. So the main challenge that we want you guys to take away from today is we want you to try and keep in mind those strategies that Tom talked about. So to give you a little recap, the strategies he talked about are
distraction and avoidance, reappraisal, deep breathing, to suppress or control how it's expressed, express it loudly.
We want you to pay attention and notice which strategies you tend to use the most and the ones that you probably maybe have never used before. It's unlikely that you've used every single one that he talks about. And it's also possible that you use some maybe like unconsciously. So try and be more aware of which strategies you're using and which ones you haven't used.
And what we want you to do is, as you're going into these situations, to maybe notice which ones are working for you, which ones are helping you achieve your wants and gets, and what situations are those happening in. Because we know if we're more aware of something, then we can change and control those things as well.
Absolutely.
And as always, the struggle to talk about mental health and be mentally healthy is real.
But hopefully after this week, it's a little bit easier.